Spandau Ballet Steve Norman, welcome to Noise11 and the new box set. Everything is now capturing the early years of Spandau Ballet. The box set itself, it's very comprehensive, 1978 to 1982. It was called the Blitz Years. So for people on the other side of the planet, i.e. me and everyone around me, explain the Blitz Years.
Wow. Yeah. It was a very small period in the actual club, the Blitz, which is it only lasted a year and a half, but it started just prior to that. It was a kind of lot of people congregating that we all were a bit fed up with that sort of no future punk leftover sort of stuff, and it was like, well, the streets of where we lived in Soho in London. Yeah, it was really filthy. It was quite dangerous. So everyone wanted a bit of colour in their lives, and all that no future. It was like, no, we disagree with that. So a lot of punks came to that movement, and there was a little bit in between before they found a tribe. That we were part of that tribe, really, and they were called peacock punks because they were not up for dressing down. These are old Bowie fans and. He's a master of reinvention, David Bowie. So there was very much that sort of his music, Iggy Pop, driving it, but most of all, Rusty Egan and Billy's, which he'd opened with Steve Strange, who was responsible on the door, and to either let people in or not. And it was about half and half, really. Tiny places, but you wanted the right people in there. And so it was a place to sort of kind of dress up, really, and be just don't think, as Bowie said, we can be heroes just for one day, And that day, every Tuesday to meet in the clubs, really, it was like took hours to dress up, It was, you know what I mean? Not so much me, but there was people that you should have seen the creations, Boy George and the likes, Marilyn. I remember in Billy's, the first club, it got too small, so then they found another place, and he got too small. But I remember seeing Marilyn there, experimenting with looking like Marilyn Monroe. His name was Peter Robinson, but he was obsessed with Marilyn Monroe, and over a very short period of time, with help from other sort of talent that was going to the club, very creative people, young and enthusiastic and flamboyant, that was the whole point. Everyone helped each other. You can't do this, I know someone, and you'd all help each other. And so you have makeup artists saying, well, Boy George, they'd all be in there, helping each other out. And he turned Marilyn really soon into an unbelievably good-looking Marilyn. It really was quite freaky, I think. You see the photos in a very short space of time. So I guess that was the we got to the Blitz. We already had a band. We've been going for 4 years, but we got very despondent. Spandau. We changed our names. I formed the band basically with Gary at school. We were mates in 1976. So, went through all the punk thing and, then back to soul for a little bit. And then this happened. And that was it. The music changed. We bought a synthesizer, and hire purchase. So everyone chips in every month till it's paid off. Took about 2 years, and only a little thing. And then we just developed a whole new sound, really. Still with the guitars, but with a synth in there. A live band, but with synths. And Gary wrote the songs around that synth. A lot of them that were on the first album. Can't be story short. So basically, that club, in the 18 months, say the Blitz and Billy's prior, it attracted so many creatives and talented people that they're still known today and famous today in different sort of areas of creativity. Stephen Jones, the hat maker. John Galliano was there. He used to go to Blitz. You know, you had Billy Idol, Midge Ure, even Russell Mail from Sparks. You know, I remember chatting with him at the bar, having a beer. What are you doing all the way over here? You know, at that point, you think you'd be into some other kind of music. Oh no, right in there where it was all going on. But I think it was also, and his music, Sparks' music changed. Had a little amateur hour, beat the clock. You know, that was around that time, and it's like electronic. Got a syncopation for it, you know. So and that had a big effect on us. George, of course, boy George. He was, you know, the story about George. He was one of the most amazing looking guys. You know, he is now. I saw him a week or so ago at the Blitz exhibition. There's a big exhibition going on now. I don't know if you know about it in London. Yeah, so we can get onto that in a minute if you like. But he still looks incredible, gorgeous for a man, you know, from where I stand. And he always did. And I remember the first photo session in 1980 that Spandau ever did was in this squat in Warren Street, which is sort of Soho area of London. And we're standing there, you know, posing, whatever. And George is upstairs in bed at the top of the stairs, big stairs, and he shouted over the banisters. He's got his dressing gown on because he's only just got up. It's like 4 PM, you know. And he never liked the fact that we had a band and he didn't. And he shouted at, "You still got that lead singer singing for you? I'll sing for you." And he says, and John Keeble, our drummer, shouted up, "We'll form a band then." And it didn't take him long.
So there could have been various combinations of bands then, based on the availability of people at the time.
Yeah, you know, it's time and place really. We were very lucky because, as I said earlier, 4 years we were going to playing pubs in London, you know, all over the place. Did us great in the end because we could perform to an audience. We did it a lot, you know, and it was we were obsessed by it all. And so, you know, it really, we were lucky to be in the right place, right time. Steve Dagger, our manager, had spotted this. He had his ear to the ground, you know, and he would contact me and Gary, and we popped down to Billy's. That was what happened. We went down there and that was it. You know. So Steve Dagger's very much got an importance in Spandau for a long time till the late 80s. Yeah. We you know, everything. He was a 6th member of the band. Let's say that. It was looked on like a Brian Epstein or something. You know, it was that important. And that I mean, for me, nostalgically looking back at that Blitz period and what went from there, even forgetting what it did for me and Spandau and everybody else, I just think it was an incredibly it's like the Weimar Republic, you know, between the two wars in Berlin, in Germany, and you know, and it was I don't know how long it went, but not very long, in a few years, and it was one of the most creative spots. No one cared what sexuality you are. You know, I'm not saying everyone was throwing themselves all over each other, but it's not. There was no judgment, is what I mean. You know, that was the whole point. I don't care. Never cared. You know, and like that. That was what was great about it. It was very fertile. Let's put it that way. Like the Weimar Republic was. Just seen the film Cabaret. And, you know, the Nazis really come in at that point and they destroy it all, of course. So we had our little Weimar Republic for a year and a half every Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, the band you were talking about, pre-Spandau Ballet, Gentry, is included in this box set. And it's amazing that this stuff exists.
There's stuff earlier than that when we were together. But, you know, the Gentry bit was when we were asked to perform at the Blitz. It's few of the Blitz kids as they were, you know. We got them down to our rehearsal place in London, along with Steve Strange. And Steve just said, "Oh, I would love him to play my birthday, and then Christmas, or the other way, Christmas and then his birthday, and so we did, and we only ever played there twice, the Blitz, but we became known as a house band because no other band played there. And Steve, so from that point on, he offered us a gig, and it sort of all went on from there. Really, we were ignoring all the sort of serious music press because they were all a bit snobby and they didn't get it. And then Steve Duggar, another gem there, he goes, right, then we're not going to invite him. We'll just go straight to the national paper, which he did. Before long, we're on like middle page spread. What the hell is going on there? In the middle,
Yeah, you talked about
Sunday
the Blitz exhibition. The Blitz exhibition that's on at the moment, I think, is very much possible as a result of Graham Smith, who took a lot of the photographs. And again, very lucky that this time in your history was documented.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of pictures down the Blitz exhibition. And I don't think they were done in the Blitz. They were, I think it might be Billy's, the one before. Looks different. And I know it was only very few photos of people at the Blitz. I've seen some recently of that period in the Blitz and Billy's. So not much of it was recorded. There were other photographers as well, but Graham Smith, who was always down there, he's always been a friend since then, and what I love about what he's done is he's managed to capture the Spandau graphics, if you like, and typefaces that we would use at the time, but almost brought out to date, moved it on. It's not coming up with a whole new thing. It's already there. He's just, creating with it, I guess. But go back to the exhibition. It was an incredible launch a couple of weeks ago. I've been since again because I never really got a chance to see it. So many people, you couldn't move, and you only walked 2 foot, and there was someone you knew, and they tapping each other on the shoulder, hello. And it lasted for hours. It was really lovely. It was like an old school reunion for old people. It was really nice. And everyone looks great. It's changed slightly in the face, but, the dress sense is still there. And, people don't change that much.
What about the Stephen Wilson remixes on this? This is really incredible stuff that Stephen can just clean up what was happening in those early 80s.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, the demos. I only heard one of the demos on there recently, not the other day, like this year, and I hadn't heard it since '70s, 1979, I think. So it was a thrill to me. I'm thinking, right, hang on. So I always think, well, which of the guitars is mine? Because me and Gary play guitar. We shared lead guitar and rhythm guitar duties, and then at that point he started to play the synthesizer, wrote tunes on it even. So great. So I then realized, so it's just me. But you never know, with these things. But I love the sort of going in there and thinking, what I'm trying to picture where we did it, and what does it look like? Where was I in the control room? Because I don't normally picture these things, and it takes you back, don't it? But I'm struggling with that one. I don't know where, but what an amazing surprise to actually hear it again for the first time in so long, decades.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about the BBC recordings that are on here. Yeah. So I would imagine the BBC would be a very structured recording environment compared to the Blitz, where you could just get up and do whatever you wanted.
Oh, yeah, but there's no recording facilities in the Blitz, and there's no stage to speak of, really. It was tiny. And there was a column in front of Martin or Tony or whatever. But we recorded there, of course, and that was Maid of Hell, I think, wasn't it? Or Paris Studios. Oh, I know that. Paris Studios, yeah, that's in Holborn, I believe. Somewhere like that. And it's just like the BBC studios all over. They've got all the stuff. And they got a nice sort of room, soundproof room. and an auditorium, which is what we had. So we had quite a few fans in there, if I remember rightly.
I just want to ask you about the bull, the famous story of the bull
In
released
Ibiza.
in Ibiza. It's kind of folklore, so share the story with us.
Yeah. I know. I thought it was cruel. I thought it was a bit cruel because I remember all of a sudden turning around and then, he was running around, I think. And then someone, I can't remember what order it came in, but he was definitely in that ball. And he was a tiny ball. It wasn't a big one. He was a baby ball.
Mm.
I thought it was a bit wicked, people trying to drown him. But anyway, everyone was so drunk, they didn't really care. And now it's folklore, that poor ball. He didn't drown though. We got him out.
So everything is now. This is the an absolutely amazing collection: 6 CDs, 7 discs of Blu-ray, vinyl, all in one package. Is there more to come from Spandau Ballet? Are you going to go through?
There are more things. You know, it's just whether they see the light of day or not. I guess a lot of it depends on how popular this box set becomes. So far. We're doing well, I know that, with sales, given that no one really buys records and stuff like that anyway these days. But the whole exhibition and this and that coming out, and it's good for me. It's like having like a souvenir book suddenly put in front of me and my life with the band. You know what I mean? Or that period. So I love it personally, and that what was wonderful about the Blitz exhibition, and it has become popular, and the album's doing well, our album, because there's a new sort of generation. I don't know, I think they're all people that weren't around that are saying that's amazing. They weren't born when we were there at the Blitz, but they see this importance, this cultural pop and club cultural importance. Youth culture as well, and that really, if you think so, we got Steve Strange vetoing people coming in the door, and he had a mirror next to him, one of those old sort of kiosks that you get in cinemas. You pay your ticket or whatever, and he had a mirror, and he would turn people away and say, they say, "Why can't you come in?" You go, well, look at yourself in the mirror. Would you let yourself in? Oh, that was wicked, but great.
I'll tell you one thing I have noticed, Steve. I've been walking around the streets of Melbourne. You look at young guys, probably in their late teens, early adults, and the pants are back, baggy pants.
Yeah, I know. Someone tried to get me in them recently. I said, listen, you can teach an old dog new tricks, but you've got to give him time to catch up. I'm not ready for big pants.
I think you guys are pretty much responsible for that fashion when it happened first time round.
Well, there were some sort of what do you call those things? Zoot suits, and they were like tents hanging around. I had a really big pair in chart number 1, pegs they called them. Right up there, tiny little braces as we call them. Yeah, good days. We cared. Everyone cared about the way they look and didn't want to look like everyone else. Of course, there's similar outfits, but I think that was the thing. You created your own look, and the whole scene gave people confidence to do that with themselves. Yeah, go on, you can be a hero just for one day if you like, and then do something else tomorrow, and that's what people did.
So the box set is Everything Is Now, some fascinating stories to go along with that. My first time to interview Steve Norman after Kemps and Hadley's after all the years. I'm finally glad they've let you have a go, Steve.
It's been a pleasure, Paul. It really has. And thank you for having me on.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you and I've loved every Spandau Ballet show I've seen over the decades.
Oh, thank you. Well, when we do go over, hopefully when I go over, there's no plans, but I always say it. Tony says never say never, right? He said that when he was ready to do the last reform. I heard him say it in an interview once. Never say never, right? Softly, But I'd love it if we did a farewell tour, say goodbye. Not that we'd just that we can sort of have closure. But for not just the fans, but for the band, in that we might never ever do it again, but we're doing it one more time. And just go back to when we were all loving each other, and all that, and there's been squabbles, as you know. It's a shame. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to do it either. I can understand Tony because he's doing so well, you know. Right, he's worked really hard. He has Tony. So good luck everyone. Everyone's in their right place, the way I see it.
Yeah,
including me.
All right. Good to see you.
And you, Paul. See you.
Thanks, Steve.
See you, mate.
Okay.